What's going on, folks? It's Kid Shirley Gaming Nation back in the building, going live. Want to talk about today with Assassin's Creed going woke. All right. And I remember in a video prior, I did call it out. I did say, and I'm going to review my own video. I did say if Yasuke was going to go woke, I would call it out, and I would agree with everybody else saying that it's going woke. And here's where I called it out specifically. Series on Netflix that made him gay. So we're dogs. That's not true. Legitimacy, legitimacy, and power. Now, this is where I call out if Ubisoft makes Yasuke or puts any of the LGBT agenda into it. This is where I was going to agree with everybody else that it's going to go woke because multiple things can be true at the same time. At the same time, you could have racist people talking about the game. At the same time, you could be disrespecting other people's culture by culturally appropriating them, and at the same time, it could be going woke. So plenty of things can be true at the same time, and I did call it out. Now there were cats or people in the comments and displayed as a to Yasuke into your story. This is where I call it out. Now, as I said in the prior video, Ubisoft, if you turn out to make the reason why you added this into Yasuke into your story, this is going to let me know that you were going woke. Because right here it says that Sasuke was the first foreign-born warrior to enter their ranks. He belonged to a very small entourage around Nobunaga, which is probably around 32 warriors. Many young men, many of whom were Nobunaga's lovers as well. Lockley says traditionally, older warriors like Nobunaga, then in his early 50s, mentored young warriors and developed sexual relationships with them. No evidence indicates that Yasuke and Nobunaga were lovers. Now, Ubisoft, this is where I'm going to agree with everybody if you are going woke. Because if that's what you're trying to push about black men, you're trying to push the gay black man and not the straight heterosexual black man. In fact, that you know, or if you don't know, you should go look up that that's one of the stereotypes that black men are trying to dispel, or one of those lies being told on black men that all black men are gay or all black men are gangbangers or we're dogs. That's not true. And what I'm tired of, well, one of my issues is that in this day and age, that everybody's more racially tolerant, and the threat and propaganda that was pushed out against black men during the 1800s, during the early 1900s, during Hollywood, when Hollywood was about business, was about business, into the business of destroying the black man's image and creating stereotypical images that was not necessarily true about the majority or the in general image about black men. So this is what you're going to push, Ubisoft. I'm going to agree with the crowd that you are going woke because like I'm tired of seeing those images. It's like the movie Obliterated that I watched, where the black character in Obliterated, it's a series on Netflix, they made him gay when clearly he was one of the alphas and he was a Tyrone. Now, the Tyrone in black culture amongst street niggas or street ninjas, he's the alpha male of street niggas, the Tyrone. So the fact that in Obliterated they made that Tyrone gay, and there was a scene where they were going to cut his BBC off, which I didn't find very funny because that did not happen to any of the other characters, the white or the Asian character in that series. So I'm getting tired of black men's image used from a woke point of view, used by leftist principles to push an image of black men that is not fucking true. So this is the direction you're. So as you see, I did call this out. I did call out that if Ubisoft went that direction, that they were going to go woke, and I even substantiated my argument. Um, Again, me personally, I'm really tired of black men being used to push people's agenda when you don't give a shit about black men and our masculinity. We're in a world where now everything is more racially tolerant. The threat or the violent threats that black men had to face during the '60s, during the '70s, during Jim Crow, during slavery, during even the '80s and the '90s. It's no longer there or prevalent, and black men can express themselves in a more positive way. Everybody wants to talk about toxic masculinity now. Everybody want to talk about down with the patriarchy because of how it affects women or how it affects women. When you go back in time, women, along with white women, along with white men, were oppressing black men and black women, but mainly black men. If a black man was caught whistling at a white woman, the white men would beat his ass, hang him, kill him. And now in this day and age that black men are free to express themselves, you go on Instagram, you go on Twitter, you go on social media, and I might do a Instagram review of black men that are on YouTube that are not fitting the stereotypes. They're into cooking, they're into working out, they're into trades, and I might do a review of um, black men on social media that are. I might do that. I might do an episode about that. I might review the black men or the black role models that you can look up to that are that are very effective on Twitter or on YouTube that we can look to and say, okay, black men are no longer fitting these stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like when woke uses the black male image to push the same stereotypes that were being pushed by Hollywood during Jim Crow in the '80s and the '60s and the '90s. You see what I'm saying? Because that's all woke is. Woke is just pushing the same stereotypes of old. It's not pushing the positive black male image. It's not pushing the masculine straight black male image. The black male image that's a hero. The black male image that, like you saw how the white male image is being pushed, where he's the main protagonist, he's the main hero, he's the the hero. It's not pushing that about black men. It's pushing the debaucherous ones, the dysfunctional ones. So yeah, like it's just crazy to me that um black men are still not free. We're free to an extent, but our image is not free. We we we're not free in the sense of we're still trapped by now a mental image, not a physical one like we were in the '80s and in the '60s with the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam. You know, where you would get shot 5 times by the police, even though that's still here today. But today it's more mental, it's more spiritual slavery or bondage because we still got to fight the programming that was programmed into us. If you go read Napoleon's Hill Law of Success, the 17 Laws of Success, it's talking about how you can pass down social hereditary fears. So black men are still dealing with those kind of programming. Um, Black men are still dealing with imagery programming. We still got to fight that, and now we have to fight this gynocracy, female-led gynocracy. Before we had to fight man to man with the with the white male patriarchy. Black male patriarchy fight the white male patriarchy, and black men trying to establish some power here in this country. Now we have to compete and fight against the gynocracy. And the problem with that now is that if we go against the gynocracy, we have to deal with our own women too now. And then now we have to deal with white women. So it's like black men have exchanged one slave master for another slave master. It's just insane. So that's what I mean when I say black men. I don't. It's like here in America. I don't think we're free yet. I still think we're honestly think we're still in bondage, especially now, where everybody else is able to identify whatever they want to identify with, and they're free. They can identify with a rabbit. They could dress up in a furry rabbit costume and identify with a furry, and not get judged. Not the society won't judge them for that. The society won't pass a judgment on that. Society won't condemn them for that. You go to New York, go to the train station, you can see dudes dressed up in pink skirts, be a trans person, and nobody's allowed to judge them or bully them. But a straight black man now who's been victimized the most in this country and faced the most threats than anybody else. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care about what your struggle was. I don't care about the LGBT movement and how you feel or what's your struggle about or how you've been victimized. Because black men have been victimized in this country. Black men in this diaspora, in this whole diaspora, has been victimized since we've been here. Nobody can tell me or convince me that the Asian community, the LGBT community, the LGBT community, the uh, the community who shall not be named community, no other group can tell me you've been through or fought the fight that black men have had to fight in this country. Nobody. See what I'm saying? And we still got to deal with woke. Now we have to fight wokeism now. And the thing with this threat, it's not physical. It's media. It's 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 in the ethos. It's image. It's movie projection. An imagery. If an image is worth 1,000 words, what's the worth of a animation? An image, one picture is worth 1,000 words. How much is a movie projection worth? What's the value of a movie projection? That's programming things into your brain. This is what black men have to fight. On top of we got to go deal with our women now. And this is my position. I don't care who black men have to face. I don't care if it's the black woman he got to deal with. If you lie on black man's name, he has every right to come at you with everything in his arsenal possible to stand on his name and fight for his name. I don't care if it's black women. I don't care if it's LGBT. I don't care if it's white men. I don't care if it's white women. I don't care if it's feminism. The black man has every right to stand on his fucking name and go to war with anybody that's going to war with him. It's insane. But anyway, like this is why I agreed in prior lives that Ubisoft should have never made this move because, and maybe that's what the move was. Maybe the move was to avoid having a Japanese male protagonist, so to push LGBT on black men and on the Asian female. So then you can't say that it's a Japanese man that's responsible for pushing homosexuality in their country. Which, if you go into Nobunaga's history right here, it does say that's what he was involved in. And we don't know if this is true or not. And they say, oh, the warriors like Nobunaga. How do you know that Nobunaga was like other warriors doing this? So just like I wonder if the people who are saying that Yasuke was not a samurai, I wonder if you're going to challenge this. Japanese men, are you going to challenge this or answer for this right here? But anyway, this is Kishari Gamer Nation. I just wanted to do this small little live right here to showcase this, that I did call it out, and to point out that the woke culture coming, and I did see this coming. My only argument was to argue the arguments that surrounded the game, that surrounded this topic. Argue the arguments about black using black character to cultural appropriate Japanese character to disrespect their character. When you have movies of white men doing that and nobody called it woke, what I'm saying? To argue about how I wanted to argue or debunk the arguments about whether a retainer was he was just a retainer and he wasn't really a samurai, when obviously there have been retainers that have been samurai. But overall, Ubisoft should have never made this move, because now it's a disrespect to Japanese culture and Japanese men, and it's a disrespect to black men, because you're not pushing the images that we want to be pushed. You're pushing your agenda. And you're pushing the same stereotypes that black men were running from. But anyway, this is Kishadi Gaming Nation. Hit the subscribe, hit the share, hit the like. Check out my content, check out my channel. I'm out.